On the surface, the 2015 film Mad Max Fury Road may appear as any other story with a tyrannical, oppressive ruler who ragtag characters will unite to defeat, with a lot of chaos and action for cool effect. However, George Miller's dynamic and fast-paced editing, limited dialogue, thorough characterization, and many other formal choices create a message everyone can relate to, even though we are not yet in a post-apocalyptic world. Miller recognizes love as a real weapon against power-happy rulers and the oppression and exploitation they impose. Early in the film, Miller uses short shot lengths and more close-up and medium shots to give detail and evoke lots of emotion in a short amount of time. In this sequence of Max's imprisonment, Miller shows the barbaric environment around the Citadel without specific context or reasoning. This creates suspense for the audience regarding where they are, why the war boys look the way they do, and builds up to the introduction of Immortan Joe. Many of these shots create disturbance, such as this opening shot of hair and the young war boy collecting it, as well as Max's bloody carved back in the hot iron stand. The snipping, blood squishing, and iron sizzling sound effects work with the visuals to evoke this response. Even without dialogue, this sequence tells a clear story and begins to build up a picture of the world they live in, one small piece at a time. The following sequence of Max's escape attempt builds up to the reveal of the Citadel as Max faces quick flashes of people from his past until he reaches the ledge and is forced to face the reality of his present. The following sequence follows a similar pattern as Miller visually introduces small details about Furiosa and Joe, again with no dialogue except some chanting from war boys. This illustrates how Miller can build characters without them speaking or being spoken about and continues to set the scene. Miller then formally introduces Immortan Joe, Furiosa, and the war boys as Joe addresses the people at the Citadel.
Once again, I salute my Imperator Furiosa, and I salute my half-life war boys.
This scene showcases Joe's power as he is placed physically high above everyone with shots like this, with the camera angled down to stress the power imbalance. The desperation of the people below is evident in their physical appearance in anticipation of Joe opening the Citadel. Cuts to Furiosa's reaction to this, although subtle, are able to convey her sadness for the people along with anger and disappointment towards Joe and the state of their world. Later on, when Max is introduced to Furiosa and the Five Wives, the scene is very effective with minimal dialogue. As Max approaches, the wives wash in water from the rig and remove their chastity belts with Immortan Joe's symbol on them. These actions alone show the rebellion and freedom they have gained from their escape. Max's muzzle contrasts with this as he is still reserved and unwilling to trust the women yet, but they are able to use this against him too. Throughout the film, although forced out of necessity for both groups at first, these characters are slowly able to put aside their differences. The love between the wives and Furiosa is always evident through their body language and trust of each other. The limited dialogue on the rig makes the words that are spoken often more impactful and shows relational growth and improved trust. We see Furiosa trust Max with the rig, the wives try to welcome Nux, and the collective grief with the loss of Splendid and her baby.
Whatever happens, we're going to the green place. Green place. We don't even know where to find it.
As the film comes to a close, Miller uses Nux's sacrifice, the group's collective grief, and all of their efforts to save each other from danger to show the new depth of their relationships. When Nux sacrifices himself for the group, Miller contrasts quick, short shots leading up to his decision, and then dramatic, sweeping and slow shots as he crashes the rig. This emphasizes the intentionality in his action and the contrast of his ceaseless devotion to Joe with his new, deep care for his new crew. The film's pace slows considerably as the group returns to the Citadel with the news of Joe's death. This is a relief after the quick cuts that built up suspense early and throughout the film. Finally, the Citadel is opened and poured on all the citizens as a show of love overpowering the oppression that had reigned the land for so long. Miller's choices allow the audience to breathe in relief along with the characters who, although battered and not all together, grew together and were able to overcome the worst evil. These ideas that play out in Max's world are not just fiction. This exploitation and oppression is evident across all of our real world. Mad Max Fury Road showcases a single power monopolizing resources regardless of the consequences for normal citizens and the environment. Unfortunately, in our country, we are plagued with big business seeking profit over humanity, treating employees like animals to ensure they reach quotas, and risking mass environmental damage in order to control the fossil fuel industry. Even worse, our decision-making, powerful politicians tend to care more about their own bank accounts and agendas than what's really best for the people and the environment. This leaves normal people feeling voiceless. The love that grows from shared experiences and real human connection is the main way we can all come together and make real changes in our world. Slowly but surely working to change systems and take down the Immortan Joes of real life.